Hey, what is up, everybody, and welcome to the Get Your Bell Rung Football Podcast. He is Kevin Reynolds. I am Bobby Wall, and we are here to talk all things football and hit you with some takes that might rattle you up a bit. We are going to talk some waiver wire pickups as we need to every week. We will break down the games that were NFL Week 3, and obviously we'll give you some of our sneaky starts of the week. But first, Kevin Reynolds, how you doing?
Doing all right, buddy. Not as good as you. You were just boogieing down there at the beginning. That was nice.
I'm feeling good today. Feeling good. We're doing this a little bit earlier, so I'm not quite as tired. It's
Okay.
early afternoon, early evening, I guess.
It is because I have rain
Well,
for the fourth day in a
yes.
row, so I've had to cancel 4 days in a row outdoors, and sort of sucks. But at the same time, I got to sit here and watch a lot of football and talk with you at 5:15 instead of 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and talk to me on Monday night and Sunday night.
I did.
And Sunday.
I don't typically get to do. Doesn't pan out,
Yeah.
but did this week.
I liked it.
I don't like
Yeah,
the loss of money, but aside from that, it's all right.
I would like to just put it out there that as of right now, I have not lost a player due to injury in any of my 4 leagues I care about. Incredibly, I did not have Mike Williams on any of my teams or anyone else that went down. So that was, well, actually, I had Gus Edwards in 2 leagues, but he should be back. It's a concussion. It's not like he tore his ACL or anything.
He's not done.
That's incredible.
Or anything.
The first time all season, I think I went a week without someone getting put on the pup.
Very good. I also had no injuries. I need Anthony Richardson to come back, even though I have Cousins. Yeah, things are looking all right on the injury front.
Yeah, and because of that, there aren't a whole bunch of waiver wire pickups. I don't think, at least. I know one big one people are talking about is Devon Achane, the rookie. Was it Texas A&M running back for the Dolphins, who put up 50 some fantasy points, over 200 yards rushing. Dude had 4 touchdowns. People are going to rush out and pick him up. How do you feel about that? Do you want him on your team?
You may or may not remember I mentioned to him before the season started, he was somebody that I really had wanted in my league of record. But the way the master plan worked out, there was just no way to make it happen. Somebody else signed him. If you're going out there spending everything, expecting that every week, then you're an idiot.
Right.
You can make the case he should be the starting running back there. You could make the case that when Jeff Wilson comes back, he'll be number 4. So there could be any given week where not only does he not have 4 touchdowns, he doesn't even have 4 carries. It's going to, I don't know, it's going to be very game scripted with him right now. I would want him. I'd love to have him. But am I going to go spend the rest of the year's waiver wire dollars on him or make him waste my number 1 waiver priority on him? I don't know. We just don't know. You have no idea what's going to continue.
I'm a little upset because I was hoping you would say the opposite so that I could disagree with you. But I don't. I actually agree 100%. And for really the same reasons that you said, Jeff Wilson is coming back. They got 1 more week this week, and then they go up against Devon's going to go up against an added guy to the backfield in Jeff Wilson, who is normally the lead running back here, going back to last year. Raheem Mostert has been the guy for the last few weeks, and he's obviously talented. So he's, Achane's not going to hop Mostert.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah.
I thought we discussed before the show that he may or will become our new he who shall not be named.
Sorry. So are we allowed to say the name of the other he who shall not be named?
I guess we'd have to bring him back into the fold.
That's fine. All right. So we will now refer to Evan Ingram as Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Henceforth, Evan Ingram will be Evan Ingram. He will no longer be he who shall not be named. Raheem Mostert will be. And that is because Raheem Mostert screws Kevin and I constantly. No matter if it's the once and done league or if we have him in a season long league, we never start him on the right days. He always ruins our fantasy weeks. So he who shall not be named is there. Jeff Wilson's coming back, like you said. The Dolphins love to throw the ball. and they have some serious weapons. They just put up 70 points, and Jalen Waddle didn't even play.
Yeah.
So I'm not spending a bunch of money on A-Chain. And plus, this week, well, you got him for a week. Wilson's not coming back till next week. Yeah, but the Buffalo Bills are the 22nd worst opponent you want to see in terms of the run. So they're, what are they, 11th then best run defense, and you don't want to see that.
Yeah, we'll
Next
talk
up,
more about the Dolphins in general when we get to that game, because there's some crazy stuff there.
So Mike Williams, I mentioned, he's out for the year with ACL. So we got two options here. We got Josh Palmer, and your guy that you love, Quentin Johnston, the rookie from TCU. Who do you want?
So irritating. You know who I want. I want Quentin Johnston. Okay, yeah, he's got a lot of studying to do. He's got to learn this offense really quick. There is no grace period now. He's going to get thrown right into it, and deservedly so. Unfortunately, in my league of record, he was drafted, signed to a long-term contract by none other than Two Nut. That bastard gets so freaking lucky. Every week, something stupid happens in the NFL, and whoever's backup it is just happens to be sitting in his lineup or not on his bench. It's so irritating, Two Nut. But nonetheless, I want Quentin Johnson. That's hands down. I think maybe not this week, maybe not the next week, but it's for the season, 100%.
So you're saying he's the opposite of me. He gets all of the good luck,
yes,
and I get all the bad luck.
Yes.
Okay. I don't mind that, but I'm going to go with Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer has been there for a few years. He knows the offense. Him and Herbert have built a little bit of trust together, and he's killing in snap counts compared to Quentin Johnston. I think Quentin's on right.
Here's the thing, though. I knew this was going to probably be your thing, that he's been there.
Yeah.
And that's part of my point. He has been there. Mike Williams or Keenan Allen or both are out all the time. And Palmer still has, it's this roller coaster thing with not really all that high of highs, but extremely low lows. He's had his opportunities. He hasn't really done a lot. Chargers spend a first-round pick on Quentin Johnston. I just think that within 2 weeks, he's going to be putting up some numbers.
I think QJ is going to be the same roller coaster, and I think Palmer's going to give you a better floor. I mean, in week 1, Palmer played 52 snaps all season in 3 weeks. Quentin Johnston's only played 48.
Well, yeah, he was a rookie. They didn't want to have to throw him in, but now they're going to have to. If you were talking about a straight skill standpoint, these two guys couldn't be farther apart.
Agreed.
But the fact he's there, he knows the offense, yes. But I read something today out of or wherever the hell they play now, Los Angeles, that I'm still stuck in the San Diego. That they literally are going to force feed him the playbook this week. The gloves are off, the diapers are off, the whatever's off, and he will learn this. I'm with you for like the next 2, maybe even 3 weeks. Palmer, after that, 100% Quentin Johnston.
I can buy that. If you own Ramondre Stevenson, or maybe even if you don't, are you picking up Zeke? Now, he's only available 43. Well, he's 43% owned in Yahoo League. So a little over half of our leagues, he is still out on the waiver wire. He's averaging 11 touches a game, and taking away a decent amount of work from Ramondre. So do you want him in case, is Zeke a legitimate handcuff for Ramondre, or do you want him?
If I'm a Ramondre owner, instead of getting Zeke, I'm putting out feelers to trade Ramondre. I told you this at the beginning of the season. You, others were so high on him. I'm like, why? He's a Patriot. I think last year he had a good year. I'll give him that. He had like 2 really good games that sort of threw off those stats. Some that you and I really look at, which was surprising to me, because you and I usually, we talk about that, how foolish people are, that they look at the season stats. They don't look at games and see that he had 2 games that completely sort of skewed his stats. I would look to just get rid of him and avoid that altogether. Why? He still has just enough name notoriety to maybe get something decent back. I don't want to touch that, because, again, you don't know in any given week, Zeke might get cut in 3 weeks.
Can I tell you what's crazy? Ramondre has scored 8.9 points, 12 points, and 6.2 points, and he's a current RB19. Not that far off of his ADP this past draft season. I mean, the scoring has been so odd here. For me, I'm sticking with Ramondre simply because the reason I liked him so much is he's the leading rusher for a team. I get it; it's the Patriots, but those 87 or 89 targets, whatever he had last year, is just it's too tantalizing to let go. Even though he's disappointed, honestly, so has almost everyone else. So
He's got
I'm going to
13
still,
so far this year.
yeah, I'm
13
going to,
targets.
and that's decent, right? Through 3 weeks, you take that from your running back,
I guess
but
that's 4 targets a game. It's not exactly stellar.
well, it's not. He's not on pace for his 87 or whatever that was. But yeah, I get it. If someone wants to trade me Ramondre, you're not going to get very much, but we can talk about it. One more guy for a waiver wire pickup is my boy C.J. Stroud, QB 13 right now. He's got a ton of passing yards, and he's starting to get some TDs as well. I think he's up to 4. Was it 2 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, and then 2 again this week, something like that. I'm in, man. And these receivers he's got, Robert Woods is somehow a legitimate flex play for you. Nico Collins is a wide receiver 2 for you. You don't mind putting him there in that slot. And Tank Dell is stepping up.
That's
I'm
crazy.
liking this. I know, man. It's very surprising, but I can hop on board with this. I'm pumped, man. Stroud was my QB1 coming out, and I'm loving this.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no my leagues, these guys were drafted for a lot of money and signed a long-term contract, so they're long since gone. But if a guy like that's out there and even if you don't need help at quarterback, just to put him on your team, if you have a slot, take the opportunity, take the chance, at least keep him off somebody else's team.
Yeah, well, not bad. All right, that's it. Oh, I did see that David Montgomery is trending towards playing on Thursday after he was supposed to be out for quite a few weeks. If you have him, are you playing him on Thursday?
Why can't they run?
I don't know.
What is going on? I don't get it.
Well, I don't even know if they're trying. I think they just need one guy to hammer the ball up the middle for 3.5 yards a pop so they can pass the ball a little bit. And they're happy with that.
I
And I'm
guess
happy with it as long as Montgomery keeps falling into the end zone.
I
But
don't
I don't
like
know
it
if
long term for them because we love them. And
we
I
do.
can't see that whole you have these 2 studs in the backfield and one that you spent this massive draft capital on, you barely give him any opportunities. I don't really understand the logic, and you end up losing a game, winning 2 games that were tremendously close. I don't. You've got all these playmakers, you just don't want to use them. It's odd. And then when Jameson Williams comes back, that's another mouth that has to be fed. I don't
This
know.
question,
I don't get it.
the question I asked definitely has nothing to do with me and my share of David Montgomery. But are you starting him on Thursday? Answer the question.
I would not. No.
What if the only other running back you could really play is probably Josh Kelly or Montgomery's backup, Craig Reynolds? I am in dire straits, my friend. I'm going to have to play
Then
him. I
possibly, but
know.
I'd be really. That's when
It doesn't feel good.
I'd be digging, not just listening to Roto World or PFT. That's when I'd be digging into Detroit newspapers and trying to figure out, is this guy actually going to play? Is he actually that healthy? Is he going to end up playing getting 5 to 7 touches in the game? Because it's Thursday. So
I know.
So even less time for him to recover still. And I don't trust situations like that. And then you play him, he ends up with 3 touches, and then you're pissed off for 3 extra days.
It's him or Zach Charbonnet. That's what I got.
Boy.
I know, but that's because I have Eckler and Josh Kelly, so I'll play whoever's
There was
starting
some
there.
handsome lad back in the preseason. What the hell? Some really handsome looking fella. Strapping even. Who mentioned that Charbonnet was not going to amount to much of anything. But I can't remember who that guy was, but I think he was right.
Nah, I'm not worried about it yet. It's week 3. I'm just going to hold on to him all season long. I'm going down with the ship.
The classic body. You'll hold on to it for 9 years.
Yes.
I know, because I can't get rid of him now because he's going to blow up on somebody else's team next week. I know it's coming. His day's coming. I know it's coming.
I am the captain of the USS Charbonnet, and if she's going down, I'm staying with the ship. Send out a search party, Kevin, because
Oh, you
I'm
got some
sticking with
issues
it.
you need to really work
Oh
through.
gosh, big time. All right, let's get in these games. Thursday night was a snooze fest like we thought. The Giants are not good despite their win that they somehow got over what we thought was the worst team in the league, the Cardinals, 2 weeks ago. If you started Matt Breida because Barkley went out, you got lucky with a touchdown, but that is it for them. And then the Niners, they're all good. All of them are talented. Brock Purdy went for 302. That dude throws two touchdowns like in his sleep. It's just what he does. He doesn't throw three. He rarely throws three and rarely throws one. It's just two every time. Christian McCaffrey might be, if it weren't for injury, if we're just talking talent, he might be the best running back that we've seen since Barry Sanders. I'll hear an argument for Marshall Faulk and I'll hear an argument for LaDainian Tomlinson. But as far as all around talent, that might be it. Anytime Ayuk is out, you got to throw Deebo Samuel in there and George Kittle. Or anytime one of those three is out, the other two are great. You hated that Ronnie Bell got a touchdown, but your Niners were all good.
For a brief period of time, as much as I hate saying this, I'd have to throw Le'Veon Bell in there because he had about a 2 to 3 year stretch there where he would look like, God who walked his man on a football field. Dude, the Niners, I don't know how anybody can make the case they're not the best team in football right now. If you look at all aspects, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, GM, top to bottom. And what was it during that game? No, it's the Chiefs. I got something to say about the Chiefs in a little bit.
Okay. But yes, I agree. That's the team I don't want to play.
No,
if I had one team I don't want to play.
And the thing is, last year, that I think the Eagles would have won the NFC Championship. I don't care if they had Montana playing for them. I still think the Eagles were hot. They were the team to beat. They were going to win anyway. It just wasn't going to be a laugher. That said, I think that the roles have now changed a little bit. And do they play in the regular season? Do you know?
I actually think they do. I'll look it up. I think they do.
That would be great to freaking watch.
I disagree.
You don't think it'd be a fun game to watch?
I'm going to be a mess. What do you mean?
Dude, they could be playing Smithsburg Leopards and you'd be freaking a mess, not knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah. How about this? The Eagles, Monday night, November 20th, they play the Chiefs. And then Sunday, December 3rd, they play the Niners. So oh my gosh, listen to this. Eagles go Cowboys, Cowboys bye week, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys. Whew.
That's quite the murderer's row there.
Tough stretch. Then they go, but they finish the year Seahawks, Giants, Cardinals, Giants. So, man, that is.
But I don't care how bad the Giants are. Any NFC East game in December.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
who knows?
You don't know what's going to happen there. That's a tough second half of the year. That's what you get for being the 1 seed. I mean, obviously your division plays another division. Actually, play two divisions the same. Everybody. The only real difference, we talk about this on the show. They make this huge thing. Well, they get an easy schedule. They get targets. The only difference is you play the number ones from the divisions you didn't play. There's nothing else. It's not this like you only played the best teams, but that's definitely a murderer's row there. That's they best be on their best behavior there.
And their record, they better be undefeated when they roll in there, buddy, because that could be 5 losses in a row.
That's crazy.
All right, the Falcons also not good. So unfortunately for them, their undefeated streak ends at 2 games. Ritter stinks. Bijan, I don't know why Bijan Robinson only got 10 carries. That made 0 sense. I know he was only averaging 3 yards a carry, but he's the best foot player on your entire team.
Yeah.
Give him the ball.
14 touches for the entire game.
Yeah, and they didn't score a touchdown. So, but hey, Kyle Pitts, man, your guy. He led the team in receiving. 5 catches for 41 yards.
He had 9 targets. I read something yesterday that he had 9 targets, but of 5 catches and only 2 of the other balls were even remotely catchable. So he had a decent game.
Yep. On the other side, Jared Goff did not have a good day throwing, but he got a rare rushing score. And it wasn't like a 1-yarder, man. He was like a 6-yard rumble or something. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, 17 carries. Without looking, I'm positive that's the most he's gotten with Montgomery on the bench. I really thought Craig Reynolds would get that up the middle, beat your head against the defensive line kind of carries, but they were giving them to Jahmyr. And then Amon-Ra was great because that's what he does. And Sam Laporta, my guy, 8 for 84 and a touchdown. I started him in the once and done, and I am very glad that I did.
He
Also, interesting
essentially,
fact.
other than that touchdown, sorry to interrupt you, other than that touchdown, he had 7 for 39. Like basically 5 yards of freaking catch. But he had the one long play with the blown coverage, and boom.
And you still have
Buku
7
points.
catches. If
Buku
you're a
points.
tight end, I don't care how many. If I just said you don't get to look at the yards or anything, but your tight end's going to have 7 catches, you're pumped. You're
Yeah,
excited.
you're getting 3.5 points there just for the catches.
Yeah. 4 Lions caught passes. That's it.
Yep.
Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, Khalif Raymond, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep, 1, 8, 4, and 9. It was an ugly game. Ugly game.
Yeah,
didn't look like football.
My buddy Dan Coons, he's a listener of the show. He sent us out in a group text. He goes, I'm pretty sure that Taylor Swift has gotten more airtime on Red Zone than the entire Lions Falcons game. And I think he's right.
Did you see some of the stats today?
About what?
Travis Kelce from Sunday morning until now has 300,000 more Twitter followers now.
The power
300,000 more people signed up to his Twitter because
is she the most powerful woman in the world?
And I don't even understand it. She's just a big tall beanpole. I mean, she's hot. I'll give her that. Her music, I guess, catchy, but sucks. I can't even name a song. I don't. What am I missing here? What?
It doesn't matter. She's the Beatles, but by herself.
But why? How did that happen?
She's Elvis.
How?
I don't know. I do know she puts on a great show. Like supposedly live, she's incredible. She'll sing like 45 songs. She doesn't take a break, and she's hit the right. I think her music appeals to like 8-year-old girls, all the way through 80-year-old women. I think everyone likes
men. There's men too, dude. There's a guy, I won't mention his name, teacher at South High. His life revolves around this person and his bracelets. And he at one point during the game, he wrote on Facebook that he doesn't care about the game. Just put like a side box up in the corner of just her the whole game. And I'm just like, why?
I love it.
What am I not? What am I missing? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what, Travis Kelce, he's all right. And then apparently then there was this rumor she made all these people leave at a restaurant after the game, paid for all their meals, but it really turned out that he had actually already reserved the place for after the game. So all these weird rumors going on with those two. More power to them.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're the world's strongest power couple now, I guess.
Did you see the memes of Brittany Mahomes, though? How she's been trying for years to become the focal point of anything, any social media for the Chiefs. And now it's all just blown out of the water, just one fell swoop.
I don't know if I said this. I mean, I know I've said it to you personally. I'm pretty sure I've said it to quite a few folks. If I'm Patrick Mahomes, I go up to my wife and I say, I love you so much. We have $500 million. I need you to never get on social media and don't show up to the games. Just stay out of the picture, please. She's the reason I don't watch a quarterback show on Netflix, because I know she's going to be on it. Yeah, she's the worst.
We need to be careful what we say about people. I guess we don't want to offend anyone, but there's nothing about that relationship that I understand, and I don't need to. So I just tried to ignore it.
All right, let's move on to Justin Herbert with a dominant game. Only 7 incompletions, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Keenan Allen also had a touchdown pass to Mike Williams, who was having a great game, 7 for 121. Unfortunately, pulled or tore that ACL. And Keenan Allen, come on, 18 grabs for 215 yards. He is the man there. However, now with Mike Williams out, Keenan Allen, teams can double cover him if they want to. Give me some guy to play trail man. take away that underneath stuff, and then that's gonna be tough. I'm interested to see how the Chargers change up their offense, because I bet that's gonna happen. Josh Kelly ruined your day. 11 carries for 12 yards. Gosh,
That's
that is so.
important because there are a lot of people, not us, but a lot of people who felt Austin Eckler is just the beneficiary of this system, this team.
Oh no.
This is not the case. They can't run to save their freaking lives. Justin Herbert only had one less yard than Josh Kelly with 9 less attempts.
Yeah.
So Austin Eckler is what makes this offense go. Be interesting when he gets back.
Oh yeah. Kirk Cousins, he dominated again for fantasy, 367 and 3. Alexander Madison coming through for you. Over 100 total yards, 5 catches. JJ did his thing. He's the man. Hawkinson got you 8 for 78. I don't know if you're happy with Addison's 8.2 points in a
wasn't.
Point people. Yeah, right. But that's it. KJ Osborne got a touchdown on a fluky play.
One catch.
Josh Oliver, but whatever.
Let me ask you this. Why does Kirk Cousins and the Vikings as a whole not play the first half? If they could play both halves the way they play the second half, they beat everybody 55-3. I don't understand. Why do they wait till halftime to decide, you know what? We've given them a big enough lead. Let's play now.
I don't think they have good coaching, man. And I don't think they've had good coaching in a long time.
Yeah, and you're right, because you could make the case for Kirk Cousins right now. If they were 3-0 instead of 1-3, that he's the MVP of the league. His numbers are freaking sickening. Sickening.
Yes.
Yet 0-3, and somehow they continue to blame him. What the hell's the guy supposed to do? 367, 3 touchdowns week after week. How is it his fault?
It can't. I mean, it's not.
Oh, it is because he's a God-fearing Christian. It's his fault.
Here we go again. Saints, they lose by 1 point to the Packers, and they are no longer undefeated, just like their rival, the Atlanta Falcons.
We jinxed that division last week.
I know, we really did. There are only 3 Saints players worth owning, and that is Chris Olave, who went 8 for 100. Michael Thomas, who is still getting peppered. Thomas is a floor play. Keep that in mind. He's your flex, maybe your second flex. I'm okay with that, But those two, and now Alvin Kamara is coming back. I don't know how much work do you anticipate Kamara getting his first week back? Really?
No.
I bet he gets 10 to 15 touches.
The days of the Sean Payton offense are long since gone, and he is past his prime. And I just don't. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad running back from here on out. I'd put him in the top 15 guys the rest of the season, but he's not the Alvin Kamara. That his floor is 10 points, his ceiling is 35. That I don't see that happening.
So you're thinking it's more of a 6 to 18?
Yeah,
floor 6.
Yeah, he's going to be more reliant now on scoring. It's not going to be the thing where they just endlessly dump off little freaking screen passes to him and he turns that into 7 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. I don't think that's happening anymore. My favorite thing about this team is that Derek Carr is hurt and Jameis Winston, Mr. Slang It, is rolling in. As soon as he went in, I was excited. Oh, this is the best thing that could happen to Olave because that dude loves to slang it downfield.
All right, let's back up a little bit. Your favorite thing isn't that Derek Carr got hurt. It's that Jameis Winston is playing.
Well, I don't give 2 craps that he got hurt. That's not my problem. I care that Chris Olave should get more fantasy points now because now we have a quarterback who isn't afraid to throw the ball downfield.
All of them. But although I will say Derek Carr, I think he is up there in deep ball shots.
Well, yeah, and they had a good rapport. I'm not going to say they didn't. I loved it anyway. But now, if you have a receiver and James is quarterback, you love it. Yeah, he's going to miss you at least twice and throw interceptions on those balls. But I don't care as long as I'm still getting 12 catches for 115 yards and 2 long touchdowns.
So until Christian Watson gets back, and I'm not sold on him, besides Aaron Jones, who knows when he comes back, is there any Packer that you feel comfortable starting every single week?
I'm getting to the point of Musgrave with tight end, or did you already say him? Because with tight end so weak overall, Got 8 targets, turned into 6 for 49. He's looking
He
better and
may or
better.
may not.
We'll be talking about him later on. He's my play of the
He
week at
might.
tight end.
Yes.
Yeah, I picked him
Yes.
up 2 weeks ago and gave him a 3-year contract.
I like it.
Um,
I'm with you. I don't want
yeah,
Jordan Love. His like, Bear stats look good. Was he got like 7 touchdowns and 1 pick or something like that? But if you watch him play, he's not really very good. AJ Dillon is awful. Romeo Dobbs depends on who's going to show up. Which Romeo Dobbs is going to show up? Is he going to score a touchdown or do absolutely nothing? But I'm with you. I'm not starting anyone every single week, but I am getting a little enticed by Luke Musgrave.
I saw AJ Dillon's ranked. I think PFF ranked him last in the NFL in expected yards per carry. He's averaging like negative 1.1 yards less than what they feel even an average back should get on any given play. It's one thing if you're getting hit in the backfield, you're not that good. But when you're getting more than or less than a yard less than you should be getting on every carry, that's a problem.
Eloquently put, Kevin.
Yeah, there's some crazy mores and lessons in there. I think it made sense in the end. But I like having Musgrave. I'm tempted now to play him because apparently Mark Andrews is not part of the Todd Monken offense.
We're going to get there.
They'd rather lose throwing to Bateman than win throwing to the best player on your team. I don't really understand it, but whatever.
I do love. I don't know why I secretly or not so secretly root for the Texans. Maybe it's because they've been so bad for so long. But I love 37-17. They pounded the Jaguars. It wasn't even close. CJ Stroud, I mentioned earlier, he looks great. Damian Pierce looks awful. I feel like I was right to have him.
Yeah, but he scored
a good bit lower than ADP was for him coming out this year. Tank Dell, man, 5 for 145 and a touchdown. This is his second 100-yard game of the season, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Nico didn't show up
last week.
Robert Woods didn't show up this week. It's interesting that they dropped 37 points, but there's really only 2 players that were playable. That was Stroud and Tank Dell. But these receivers, man, I really like what the Texans are doing.
Pierce and that being said, a good game. He wasn't stellar, but he had a score. Pierce, he had 3 catches for 28 yards. Yeah, he's not a running back 1 for the week, but
yeah, he had
compared to what I've been throwing out there every week at running back, he did pretty well.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, we got less than right at 60 total yards and a touchdown, so that'll give you 12 some points. So you're right. Yeah. That touchdown saved him for sure. Nothing was saving Mr. Trevor Lawrence. Even ETN, man, I thought he was going to have a real nice game, and it was decent. He had 88 yards on the ground.
He averaged 4.5 yards a carry.
Right, and he had 4 catches for 50 yards, but they gave the touchdown to Cartavius Bigsby. Get ETN that touchdown, man. I've had him in all my daily lineups, and it was fine, but we just missed it. We just missed that big game with that touchdown. Evan Ingram, 7 for 67, like that. And Christian Kirk was the guy to have again. Calvin Ridley, I started him in the once and done, and you asked me why. He ended up with 3 for 40 because I thought that the only thing that was going to keep him from having a big game was ETN having a big game. But also because Derek Stingley, the starting corner for the Texans, he was out. So, and Zay Jones was out, the number 2 receiver for the Jaguars. So he's got less competition on his own team, less competition on the opposing team. Let's score some points here, Calvin Ridley, but didn't happen.
Part of the problem is he is singularly leading the NFL in drops right now.
Oh, he had 2.
Doesn't exactly help.
Pretty bad ones. Yep. He did.
Now for the Trev, I don't think was horrible in this game. Wasn't great, but they have a lot of things to figure out. I think that what's that thing? Like you drinking the juice or whatever. What's the name? Drinking the Kool-Aid. They, I think, going into the season feeling a little too high on themselves and are finding out this is the NFL. You do not get handed victories against anybody, especially divisional game.
50% of teams that make the playoffs don't return the next year.
Here's the real thing about this game, though. Has there ever been a game in the history of the league where there were 2 guys named Tank in the same game? Or is this a
Huh.
first?
Interesting. It has to be the first. I've
Thank
only
you.
known two.
Thank you. It blew my
Yes.
mind the other day. I'm like, really? There's two guys in this one game named Tank. How
And
could
that's
that
the
be?
insight.
How did this happen?
That, that's the insight you get here
And
on
what's
Get
the
Your
world
Mail Right.
coming to, right? Think about it.
All right. Moving on to what was absolutely flabbergasting was the Dolphins' complete dismantling of the Denver Broncos in all facets. We'll start with Denver, the away team. Russell Wilson, he did have 300 yards
He had a
passing and a
good
touchdown.
game. How could
I
anybody
know.
blame this on him? I don't understand. All these people serious. What's the loud guy, Mans? He was
Yeah.
even like, why on earth is Russ getting ripped apart for this? He played
Yeah.
a decent game. He's had two good games now. How's it his fault that the defense gave up 70? The offense didn't
7
give up any of it. There were no turnover scores. There was no special team scores. This was the defense looking like boys versus men.
10 touchdowns.
10.
10. That's a lot of touchdowns, Kevin.
In the first, like 6 of them were the Dolphins trying. The next 4 were then just running, just your run-of-the-mill plays and still scoring.
The exact same place.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Javonte Williams, man, I thought this was going to be a smash game for him. The Dolphins are not good at, stopping the run, but he wasn't very efficient. He had 11 carries, but good grief, what is he supposed to? What are your running backs supposed to do
Game
when you're
script, yeah.
down 50 points in 3 quarters? Now, Cortland Sutton was nice, 8 for 91 and a touchdown. Judy 5 for 81. Okay, let's keep this train rolling. Let's keep it going. And Marvin Mims did his deep threat thing. And honestly, the Dolphins, I feel like they did so much that I don't even really know. This is such a fluky game. I don't know how much we need to talk about it, just besides giving the crazy stats with Tua, 300 yards. He had 3 incompletions, 23 for 26 for 300.
Started the game with 17 straight completions.
They're like, you know what? We've had enough of Tua. Go to the bench. We'll bring in Mike White, who was 2 for 2 for 67 yards and a touchdown himself. A-Chain, we mentioned 200 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, plus 4 for 30 receiving and 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert, only 82 yards on the ground, but oh my gosh, you're right. I'm sorry. He who shall not be named, 82 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, but he also had a receiving touch. It was unreal. Tyreek Hill had 9 catches for 157 and a touchdown, and nobody cares.
And he had the 4th most fantasy points on the team.
Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares.
On most games in the league, that was number 1 easily.
Why'd he even show up? No point.
I wonder what Jalen Waddle was thinking. Like, wow, am I the weak link?
He said, forget what he's thinking. Like, how about Jalen Waddle owners watching this nonsense happen and be like, it's not even out there.
So you may, dude, Robbie Anderson, Chosen Anderson scored.
No kidding. I think that was the Mike White touchdown.
It was the 68-yard TD.
The Dolphins were open. They were just giving out touchdowns free to everyone, but Jalen Waddle couldn't have one.
No, he didn't even get to play. That made it difficult. Did you see that the whole whatever that next gen stats is, that the 6 fastest ball carrier speeds in the NFL this year are all Dolphins? 4 of them from this very game.
Yeah, it was like Tyreek Hill, A-Chain,
and
he who shall not be named.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill. Yeah,
it's madness. I mean, and dude, McDaniel, genius, because he has designed this whole offense to get all those guys the ball in space and just see where the speed takes them.
And I didn't know this, and this makes more sense. And I don't know if you know this or not, but when the Broncos needed a new head coach, they did not give an interview to Mike McDaniel.
It's true. Even though he was a ball boy there, he had done an internship there.
Yeah, they wouldn't give him an interview. So now 70 points makes a lot of sense to me.
That's what I saw one of the memes the other day of all the crap, the way that Denver screwed him over the years. Yet at the end of the game, he had the grace to not run the score up on him when he easily could have broke the NFL record, but decided to just kneel and suck it up. And he said after the game that he is a fervent believer in football karma, and rubbing it in is bad business for everybody.
He tried not to score. They weren't calling new plays. They were
That's what I'm
repeating
saying. It
plays.
was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
They got to fire Vance Joseph, right? He's a defensive coordinator for Broncos. Is that who
But
that is?
again, his name's not even coming up. It's all Sean Payton. It's all the offense. Like, what are you talking about? Your defense gave up 70 in a game that the offense only, I think, turned the ball over, I think, once the whole game.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one here. Another team that got smashed were the Titans. Is Ryan Tannehill the worst quarterback in football?
He's not good. He's a human statue behind the worst offensive line in the league. That's a bad combination.
No one was worth starting for the Titans. Not even Derrick Henry. That poor guy. 20 yards.
No chance.
Total.
No chance.
Oh no, Browns defense was humming, buddy. Watson had probably definitely his best game of the year. Maybe his best game as a Brown with 289 and 2 through the air. Also added a few yards on the ground. Jerome Ford, very scary start for him because the Titans' rush defense is so good. He only had 18 yards carry, basically the same game Derrick Henry had, but he did find the end zone twice, once on a run and once when the Titans decided not to cover him at all. He was standing wide open.
I don't know how you could get more open than that. It looked weird.
There's no one. You can't. I don't know that there were any Titans on the field.
Like he was hiding on the sideline and just ran out onto the field. It was so weird.
Him and Watson were just playing catch. And then Amari Cooper, though, 7 for 116 and a touchdown. But of course, even at 7 and 116 and a touchdown, my bad luck was to fight him.
What a crock.
You didn't even see the play. I had to text you. But Amari Cooper gets a catch, runs down the sideline, touchdown. It's a 65-yard touchdown. Okay. But wait, there was an inadvertent whistle because he stepped out of bounds, except he wasn't even close. Not like they had to replay it. We're talking maybe 5-6 inches from the sideline. Not close at all. The ref must have had the whistle in his mouth and sneezed or something.
It must have, because you're supposed to just swallow it and let the play continue and then figure out if he stepped out. But it's, again, I've complained about all this time, a bunch of stupid, slow, old men having to referee the fastest sport in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they make some incredible calls, and I'm like, how did they get that right? And then times like this, it's like, dude, were you watching? Did you guess?
It's brutal, dude. It cost me a lot of points. But I do thank you for something. You talked me out Sunday morning of Javonte Williams starting and putting in Amari Cooper, which got me a lot of extra points and got me the entire weekly win in my league of records. So 30 bones in my pocket. But it's not about the bones. It's about the championships.
Yeah, Cooper made a lot of sense.
Not your world. It's just about money.
The Titans were, I mean, you target them. If a receiver's playing the Titans, you play them.
I was talking to my my buddy the other night who has him in my league of record. There were 2 plays where Derrick Henry wasn't being tackled as he took the handoff. He was being tackled before the handoff.
It was bad.
And it's almost difficult. We were talking about it's like roller derby, where they take the guy in the back and they take him by his arm and they sling him by. Because the quarterback's moving backwards, running back's coming forward. For a defensive lineman to get in there so quick to actually hit the running back before he even has touched the ball, it's from a physics standpoint, it's not possible. It's almost like the left guard took him by his jersey and pulled him so he could go faster to hit Tannehill and Derrick Henry as the balls. The guy has no choice. And the look of him on the sideline, it's like, this isn't even the NFL. This isn't football. Why am I here? Please trade
the Titans. They have some work to do on the
O-line. They have to trade him, dude. There's no reason not to at this point. Wait a few more weeks, find a team that needs him, get everything you can for him for draft capital for next year.
Well, I mean, the Titans are 1-2. They got a shot to win.
They got a lucky win, dude. Playing like this, they're not going to beat anybody. I mean, that'll be it. They'll maybe win 2 games. They're going to be fighting the Bears for the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah, and they got we had another smash. This was like the week for blowouts. The Buffalo Bills destroyed the Commanders 37-30. And guess what? The Commanders were 2-0 heading in here. You know, they were undefeated on the year, but then Josh Allen, he did his thing, rushing touchdown, passing touchdown. James Cook looked great. 6.5 yards a carry. Man, he looks so good with the ball in his hands. And
But
Stephon
only 12
Diggs,
points.
yeah, I know. He's just got to find the end zone, man. And then 8 for 111, Stephon Diggs. That's kind of what he does all the time. Gabe Davis got you the touchdown. This game was just a big joke. Was it 4 turnovers? I think 4 picks for Sam
Yeah.
Howell. And then, you know, Brian
5
Robinson looked
total
good.
turnovers, but 4 picks. Yeah, at least 1 pick six.
Brian Robinson. Oh, it was Antonio Gibson, man.
Yeah,
That
he
guy
fumbled.
cannot stop fumbling. I feel so bad for him. But Brian Robinson, 7 yards a carry, 10 carries for 70 yards. But you can't run the ball when you're getting walloped like this. So
Nope.
that
He
was it,
barely
man.
played the
That's
second half.
embarrassing, big
It
time.
was.
I mean,
I
I'll
was
take.
I was up against Gabe Davis, my league of record. So right off the beginning, he gets that 35-yard touchdown where they decide not to really even cover him. And I'm like thinking, you got to be kidding me. That freaking Whitey. But nothing, just a shadow the rest of the game, like a ghost. Like he didn't exist. That's all we end up with. How do you have a 35-yard touchdown and still only have 9.8 points for a game?
It's tough.
And
It's
depending on
impressive.
the league, it might have been less.
Yeah. Moving on. Sorry, buddy. Got to talk about it. The Indianapolis Colts, led by Gardner Minshew,
I don't mind talking about
on
it.
the
The
Ravens,
Ravens are
22 to
trash.
19. Dude, Zach Moss, he looked all right. I don't want to say he looked good. He was falling forward every play. He was gaining yards when he should have lost. He wasn't shaking anyone. He
He
wasn't.
averaged over 4 yards a carry.
He wasn't overpowering anyone, but he was just he was getting every single yard he could. It wasn't spectacular. I mean, yeah, he had 122 rushing yards, 30 carries to get there, and
Who
he did
was
have a
it that
receiving
said he'd be the bell cow when he came back? Who was that? I can't remember.
everyone
Except
except me. Except me. Because now but guess what, Kevin? What happened to the guy that I wanted?
who, Evan Hall?
Yeah. He got his knee blown up. He got put on IR.
Yeah, well, he wasn't doing anything anyway. He's trash.
If I whisper a name, that guy's going down. It's it's insane.
That's classic.
It's insane.
It's uncanny.
I can't even think of people because they get hurt. It makes zero sense.
Oh, dude, that's good stuff there. Wow.
Michael Pittman, 9 for 77, but unless you had Zach Moss, that's pretty much it. Although you take 9 for 77 against the Ravens. And then I'll let you take over here, man. Lamar Jackson, I don't know what's happening. I mean, obviously 101 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns looks great for fantasy. But in real life, I watched a lot of this game, man. It did not look great. Gus Edwards was fine, but boring.
Part of the issue is it was raining the whole time, but it was raining for both teams. Okay, so it slowed down the Ravens a little bit more. Well, Monken, you were supposed to come in here and change this offensive scheme. Yet I'm still sitting there calling what you're going to do on every play. You pull some stupid ass pass on first down that doesn't make any sense to anyone. You run it up the gut on second down, and then you roll Jackson on third down every single series. You never go anywhere. The defense played great. We were talking Kyle Hamlin before the game. Wow. Yeah. The guy was lights out. He played great. This was not on the defense. I don't know how many times we gave them the ball with the short field. You relied for years on Justin Tucker to save your ass game after game. He finally misses one, and then they show Harbaugh on the sideline looking like his dog just got run over. Like, it was 60 yards. It's not like he missed a 35-yarder. It was 60 in a downpour. And it was straight down the middle. It's just 5 yards short. Give the guy a break. But I've been telling him for years, like, sooner or later, this isn't going to work out. This whole thing of relying on him to never miss isn't going to work. And then it's coaching, not just the play calling. The guy calls with 2 minutes, 3 seconds, calls for a fair catch on a kickoff, which makes the time not go anywhere. So essentially, you've given back Indy 45 seconds more of the game, give or take, for them. If it doesn't work out for you guys, for them to drive down and get the field goal, which we go for it, miss it, then they get the field goal, tied the game. The whole thing was a nightmare. It's terrible coaching. Harbaugh needs to go. I don't pretend he's the worst coach in the league. He is not. I know players love him, but a new voice is necessary because this is just the same old shit. The last 2 weeks were not pretty. They were lucky wins. I don't understand. Like, nobody seems to see that it's the head guy. Everything trickles down from him. It's just week. Terrible. What do you think?
why, why is Mark Andrews? Take a breath, buddy. Take a breath.
I'm just
Why is
so tired of this. 5
Mark
targets the
Andrews?
whole game. They're dump
He is
offs.
he's tied for 18th among tight ends in targets for the
Not
year.
his fault. They won't throw the ball.
I know he missed a game, but it's Mark Andrews. He should have 10 plus. He should have at least 10 targets a game every game. I don't know
agree.
what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing.
We were talking for the show. The best player on your team is like a ghost now. Is this really what Monken had in mind? Like, at least what's his balls? Greg Roman got your best player on the team. At least he got him the ball.
Yeah.
Some chance to do something. This was just everything about it was play not to lose. What happens? You lose. They deserve to lose.
The Patriots beat the Jets 15-10. Can't be too many NFL scores in history that finished 15-10. No one was really worth owning for either team, unless it was maybe Ezekiel Elliott. Oddly enough, he was probably the best guy here. They split him and Ramondre Stevenson, for all intents and purposes, split work. But the Jets, I'll tell you one thing, I'll get Robert Salah is he is me with Zach Charbonnet, buddy. We're going down with the Zach Wilson ship for some reason. Dude, find anyone. I don't care who it is.
Why would you not bring in Flacco? He didn't play bad for them last year. He knows the offense. What are you doing?
Trade for someone. Give up something to get.
Just play his backup. He's got to be better than him.
Zach Wilson snaps the ball and starts moving around, not like a design rollout, but starts moving. Now, granted, I get it. He was getting pressured a lot, but it got to the point he was moving before the pocket collapsed. He's just assuming it's going to, and he's throwing off his back foot and on the move when he didn't have to. It was ugly. This game was
plays scared. Yeah, he has no business on the field.
Watch.
Sooner or later, how do you not lose the locker room eventually?
Right, no kidding.
I know they're all saying the right things right now, but they've got to be like, God, we had Super Bowl aspirations. Now we're reduced to the laughingstock of the league again, all because our coach keeps relying on this jackass.
Makes zero sense unless you want Caleb Williams, man. We'll see. How about Andy Dalton? I know he lost 27-37 to the Seahawks, but 361 yards on 58 pass attempts, 2 touchdowns. He had to be one of the high. What was he? QB5 maybe on the week. He has to be up there. Well, Miles Sanders, again, not looking efficient, but got you the pass game work, 5 for 38, and got you a touchdown on the ground. DJ Chark scored. I'm not going to that well. I'm leaving that one alone. But I tell you what, starting Adam Thielen every week until he lets me down. 11 catches, 145, and a score for old man Thielen. I love it. Keep feeding that guy the rock. And then Geno Smith kind of did his thing with a little less than 300 yards passing and 1 touchdown. I feel like he gets 300 yards and 1 score, or he gets 250 yards and 2 scores. But he's kind of like, I don't know. The end of the season numbers are going to look good for you in fantasy, but week to week it's going to be hit or miss. We both really like Kenneth Walker this week. He definitely paid off with almost 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, plus 60 yards through the air. And DK, 6 for 112, you'll take that. The only other thing I got for this one is Zach Charbonnet got the most work he had all season. 9 carries, buddy.
Yeah.
He did have 1 catch
for -1 yards.
We don't talk about that, Kevin. Leave that one alone.
For the record, Adam Thielen's only 33. He's not too old. High scoring game. I don't know if anybody really thought it was going to be. Ken Walker was the man. Geno Smith is Geno Smith.
Yep. That's it.
Like we said at the beginning of the year, well, you were a little higher on than me that he was going to be second half Geno Smith this year, and that's what he's been so far.
Yeah. Yep. Again, he'll do if you need a quarterback to start, he can get you through.
He's always got a nice floor of 8-9 points, but his ceiling, I don't see many more of those 35, 40-point weeks like he had the first half of last season.
He's currently quarterback 15. So,
Gotcha.
it's
That's the thing.
you
So in a
can stream
12-team
him.
league, he shouldn't be starting.
Right. Well, unless you're streaming and it's,
Yeah.
1 week you're starting him, 1 week you're starting Jared Goff,
Yeah, because some of the
whatever.
backups would already be taken.
Right. Bears are not good at football. Justin Fields couldn't pass for 100 yards, 47 yards on the ground. It's ugly, man. DJ Moore got lucky and caught a touchdown pass. Had a big drop on a deeper pass. The only takeaway I have from this Bears game is Roschon Johnson, man. 8 carries, led the running backs in carries for them and had 2 catches. His usage is going up. They don't. Deonta Foreman is a healthy scratch, I think, the last 2 weeks. Mahomes did his thing. Every running back scored for the Chiefs, and so did Travis Kelce. And obviously, you don't know what to do with the wide receivers because that's hit or miss. I know you put in. I had Sky Moore in one league, and you had him in a league or two, I think.
I just had him in the once and done.
Yeah, it's tough to trust any of these receivers.
Wasn't an awful game, but wasn't good. So with Sky Moore, the issue I think is Mahomes. I'm almost fully convinced now is never going to pick a number 1 guy anymore. It used to be Kelce and Hill. I think now it's just Kelce and whoever. Because Moore had some high value targets. He just didn't necessarily get them. He was third on the team in targets. But they get in the red zone for some reason. All of a sudden, Rashee Rice is in. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 guys with catches. So you're right, pick one, but it's early in the season. You got to throw some people out there here and there, so we're not throwing all our studs. So I felt good about him having a big game this week. Just didn't pan out. Jerick McKinnon was the man.
I tell you, the most shocking game of the week for me was the mighty Dallas Cowboys falling to the Arizona Cardinals 28-16. I don't know how.
Yeah, I watched a lot of it.
Me too. They looked pretty good, right?
They did.
The only player to own for Dallas that you would actually own would be Tony Pollard. But here's the problem with Pollard. He has 74 touches on the year already. 74. He's 6'2", so he's probably smaller than that. That's what they have him listed at. He's not gonna be able to hold up to this, man. And I don't like the Cowboys. I'm an Eagles fan, but just as a football spectator, this guy's not Derrick Henry. He's not 240 pounds. He's 210. You can't get him 74 touches in 3 games. It's just not going to work out for you.
I don't necessarily agree that it wouldn't work out this year, but I truly think they're going to run him into the ground over this year or the next year if he's even still there. Because he's young, he is so smaller, but he's young. But yeah, this is a guy that's career will be over by the time he's 27.
I would go out and pick up Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, he didn't look
bad. Especially as a Tony Pollard owner.
That score he had, that catch, that was a nice little run after the catch. But dude, I kept wondering watching this game, like not from a fantasy standpoint. I just kept thinking, like, when is the tide going to turn? When's the tide going to turn? Okay, here it is. Here it is. Next thing you know, Dak throws a pick. Next thing you know, a long shot down to freaking Hollywood. I'm just thinking, like, every time it seemed like Dallas might be getting back into it. Nope. It was weird. Yeah. It was a really weird, like a total trap game. They were looking well past it. Somebody was talking the other day, serious, or I guess yesterday, that it's not even Micah Parsons, it's Diggs that this defense runs through, that having him on the field changes everything. But like, I don't really think so, because he gives up so many big plays. What they did was what no other teams do. They all tried to avoid Parsons. They just kept slamming right at him the whole game to sort of like take him out of it, avoid the big playability by just slamming into him over and over again.
Micah Parsons is arguably the best defender and maybe all-around football player in the league.
Yeah.
His loss would be crucial, as you saw in this game. Robbie Beaker's a friend of the show, and I was talking to him. He's a big Dallas Cowboys fan, and I asked him, I'm like, what's going on? And the main thing he said was undisciplined on defense, not being able to, like, simple things, not fundamentally sound, missing tackles, blah, blah. And they had a great game plan to stop Micah Parsons, to keep him, out of the
Occupied.
fray. Right. And James Conner, did he turn back the clock or what? What is happening? He had 14 carries for just shy of 7 yards a carry and a touchdown against the best defense, we thought, in the NFL. I don't know what's going on here. Josh Dobbs, he got to 55 yards on the ground. He's been running the ball lately. I like it. And Rondale Moore is such a weird player. He's so gadgety. He seems to be, he makes plays, at least one big play a week. I'm not starting him, but you know what? I'll take Hollywood though. His usage, 5 for 61 and a touchdown. He's getting a look. So even though it's Josh Dobbs, I'm Hollywood's in my flex.
Rondale Moore had one of the stranger stat lines of the week. 4 catches for 8 yards. That's difficult. That's very difficult. Yeah. I mean, you're averaging 2 yards a catch. It's for a burner too. Basically, they just swing him out, throw him something out there, and hope he gets a yard or two out of it. It's very strange. Yet he had 3 carries for 54 yards.
Yeah, as a receiver, I know.
Yeah, very odd.
Yeah, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers somehow beat the Raiders in Las Vegas 23-18. The
Raiders are awful. That's how the somehow.
But the Steelers aren't good either. Their defense, they can put pressure on you, so that's what is carrying them. Yeah. Outside of George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth, no one's good. I wanted Najee to be good. But he's not.
No,
that's it. George
over 3 yards a carry.
Freiermuth until Deontay Johnson comes back. But they're the only guys with any talent. And then what do you do when Josh Jacobs owners? You like your 3.6 yards a carry? Huh? I mean, Devontae Adams was a man. 13 for 172 and 2 touchdowns. He was open every play. I texted you because we always talk about the Treylon Burks, how when you watched his film from Arkansas, he was wide open every play, like no one around him. And that's exactly what Devontae Adams looked like.
How duped does you think he feels? I know he can cry about in his bed of money, but you lure him there because his best friend's there. You suck anyway, but he put up great numbers. Then you get rid of his best friend. Now you're there, still put up great numbers, but you have no chance of ever winning.
Right.
I mean, he has to.
It could be too. 7 for 85.
Yeah,
he's back.
Oh yeah, he's one of. Yeah, I know. It's all strange there. Now Jimmy G might not play this week. I don't even know who their backup is.
Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, what are they supposed to do with that?
I hate that I was so quick with that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's tough. On another,
might not even play.
All right, Monday night games. This shouldn't take long either. In another very odd score, the Eagles took down the Buccaneers 25-11. Very strange. Hurts did not look too great throwing the football, but there's a reason for that. DeAndre Swift dominated again, 16 for 130, 8 yards a carry. Hurts did get you a rushing score. And then A.J. Brown, 9 for 131. You will take that. Goddard, I'm sorry. I don't know what his deal is. He's getting the targets. I think he's gotten 7 targets 2 weeks in a row, but it's just not coming out to be much production. And then outside of Mike Evans and his 5 for 16 a score, hopefully he didn't start any Buccaneers.
Yeah, they did nothing. This was the worst offensive performance of the week. Even if they had 11 points, but it was yardage-wise, I think, the worst in the league for the week.
The score of this game should have been 50-11, but the Eagles, for some reason, would not stop throwing the ball in another rain game. Like, you guys had a rain game. We had a rain game. They would not stop throwing the football on all downs. I am watching them average 7, 8, 9 yards a carry. Run the football. I was baffled and
we were texting about it, and on the very next series, 3 and out, pass.
Right.
It didn't even attempt to run, not even play action, just straight up drop back and pass.
It made absolutely 0 sense to me. I mean,
why would you do it when you're doing? They literally were averaging like 7 yards a carry.
Okay, they basically had the same amount of rushes. They had 37 pass attempts, and they
40
had
rushes.
40 rushes.
But it should have
Okay,
been like 15 pass attempts and 60 rushes.
right, because Jalen Hurts. Well, yes, but Jalen Hurts.
Well, he was
It
10 of
actually
them.
should be more. It should be more pass attempts because how many of Jalen's rushes were actually designed? I think like 4 of them.
Yeah.
But regardless, they had 271 passing yards. They had 200 rushing yards.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying what it was, but I'm saying if they had a brain, it would have been less
Yes.
passes, more rushes.
Oh,
It just
right.
didn't make a lot of sense
Oh,
from a game script point of view. It's like they keep going week to week. It's like they want to keep games close for fun. Maybe that's the thing. They get more of a kick out of making it fun. Or
when Jalen Hurts threw a bad interception, it was ugly when they should have been running. And I, out loud to myself, I said, that's what you get. Brian Johnson, offensive coordinator. That plays what you get. That was your fault because there's no reason to be throwing the ball right now. Run the football. Gosh. And the next game, the Bengals beating the Rams 19-16. These games were not the most fun to watch.
no.
Stafford keeps turning the ball over. Finally, Kyron Williams doesn't have a great game. Tutu Atwell is Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore is Tutu Atwell. They're tiny, gadgety. They keep making big plays. Puka Nakua finally got slowed down 5, but he still had 5 for 72. So you don't
It's
hate
still a
that.
decent game, but yeah, not great. Caught all his targets.
Burrows, that injury's killing him, man. Mixon inefficient once again, but this time he finally found the end zone. So that's what you needed from him. And it was really the Jamar Chase show, 12 for 141. And that's it, man. T. Higgins
But
had a couple drops.
here's a
Mike
stat.
Evans also in
He
that last
did.
game. Evans
Higgins
had a
couldn't
couple
catch to
drops.
save his life. It was weird.
Yeah, I think he had 3. I would
It
count
was
3 of
weird.
his.
And they were balls that are like literally hitting him right in the hands. They weren't
I know.
contested. They weren't tough catches. They were like you're out back throwing with your dad catching the ball. It was weird. Burrow right now, you may or may not know, is worst in the league of eligible quarterbacks at yards per attempt. It's only like
I did
6
not.
yards per attempt. Who would ever in their right mind would bet that after 3 weeks in the NFL, Joe Burrow would be last in that stat? He's usually in the top 5. It's very
Joe
weird.
Burrow's QB. Okay, we said, is Ryan Tannehill the worst quarterback in the league? Ryan Tannehill is QB 29. Joe Burrow's QB 30.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to continue. He has a valid excuse. He's hurt. He is. Did you see in the interview? He said after the game, he said that the danger of us going 0-3 far outweighed the danger of me re-injuring my calf. It's like there's no way I wasn't playing. I don't care how hurt it got. I was taking the chance because going 0-3, you're done. If you start 0-3 in the NFL, I think there's been like 2 teams ever that made the playoffs to start 0-3.
Yeah. Oh, it's very, very low.
So he is the man. He's I
He's a
don't know.
baller.
It's hard to not love Joe Burrow, and I'm a Ravens guy, but I still love Joey B. He's the man.
I'm with you. All right, man. You ready to move on to our starts of the week?
Sure.
I'm excited. You want me to go first this week? You want to go first?
I'll throw my quarterback out first. You know who I'm going with, buddy?
Let's do it.
First of all, when I do a lot of this, we look at a lot of this like fantasy points against, yardage against, regular points against. I'm going to tell everybody now that I have to somewhat throw out that Broncos game because it skewed everything, that it makes it look in such a short period that you should play anybody that's playing Denver, you should play them. I can't go that route because that one game just threw stuff off so much. That said, I'm actually picking a Denver player, Mr. Russell Wilson, against the Bears this week. Bears give
I
the
love it.
5th most points to Denver. I think they're going to come out and play hard because they were straight embarrassed. I think what better team to do it against than at home, or actually, I guess they're Denver's on the road, but I don't care. They're playing at Chicago. I mean, there's other people I'd like to play, but I want to pick somebody out there a little bit that I think is going to have a good week.
Kevin. Do me a favor, Kevin. Look across the field, and what other quarterback do you see on the other side?
You're going with Justin Fields, huh?
Justin Fields, QB 19 in fantasy, QB 100 in our hearts. We certainly do not like him, but the Broncos D, man, it's not good. It's not good. They just got smashed against the pass and the run. And Justin Fields throws the ball, and he runs the ball. I understand the stats are a little skewed, but the Broncos defense hasn't been great.
No, but they've been middle of the pack. The first 2 weeks against the quarterback, they were right in the middle. Last week
That's right.
really skewed that.
And Fields is chomping at the bit to take off, and we
He
know
sucks.
it only
He's awful.
one run. Oh yeah, he can't throw. For
Tune
sure.
Up must be hating life knowing that he picked him over Lamar and Lawrence.
Well, as far as fantasy goes, I think Justin Fields. I actually might put out some feelers in a league or two where I'm, just streaming quarterbacks to see if I can get Fields cheap, because I think he's going to end up. They're going to figure out how to get him the ball like they did last year. It took him several games to get going, and then when he got going, he ended up being like QB5 or something. My running back.
I still say a big part of that was 4 plays. But
True.
Yes, keep going.
Yeah, my running back for the week. We're just going to ping pong back and forth across the field here. Come on, Javonte Williams.
Hey, that's mine.
Yes,
Bears
nice.
are second worst against running backs. Of course, Denver's the worst because of one game.
Yep, they're terrible. He is currently RB33, so you don't feel good about it, but I don't mind rolling him out, even as an RB2 this week.
He hasn't played bad, just isn't getting scoring opportunities.
The Bears just gave up 4 touchdowns to 3 different running backs on the Chiefs. So let's go, Javonte.
I'm with you.
Who's your
pick? He's right there. I've got 2 of them. One was Adam Thielen. I think he's going to keep this hot hand, especially if the red rifle is still going.
What are we doing?
I don't expect him to do that again. Well, it's right there. Carolina's playing the Vikings, third most points given up against wide receivers. I wanted to go. My other name was Jacoby Myers, but I don't know who's going to be throwing to him because they're playing the Chargers, who give up the most points. And of course, the Seahawks give up the second most points, but there's not a pass catcher on the Giants you could pay me to play. So
revenge game.
I had to go with Thielen.
All right. So our quarterbacks are from the same game. We have the same running back, same wide receiver. And pre-show, we actually talked about the tight end, and we have the same tight end.
We do. Mr. Luke Musgrave.
So here's the deal, folks. Don't play Fields, Wilson, Javonte, or Adam Thielen.
Yeah, they're all going to get torn ACL in the first quarter.
Gosh. I don't like Thursday night players, but the tight end position stinks. And Luke Musgrave, it's been 2 or 3 weeks in a row where he just missed out on a big touchdown play. He is definitely due. And the Lions just passed Philly in the most points given up to tight end. So let's go.
They did, and Green Bay's at home as well.
And I'm running Kansas City defense back again. I played them in the once and done against the Jets. Are terrible. We have the same lineup?
That's what I pick. It's like right here on my screen. The Chiefs.
All right. Well, there we have it, folks. We are on the same page. That's got to be a record.
We do this all the time. We do it even in our once and done. Like we sit there and name our 9 players, and 6 of them are the same.
That is true. Well, hopefully this helps. This is really doubling down on all these players.
That said, some of our friends might think we don't know anything or that we're just blowhards. But some of our friends and some listeners that we actually somewhat know what we're talking about. We do well in leagues year after year. We both had a good week in the once and done. I'm currently in the playoffs. You're barely sitting out just because you had a poor week 2. I'm leading my freaking league of record in points. I mean, we have a general idea of what we're doing, and a lot of it, the thought processes, we think a lot alike on these. So that's how we end up with a lot of the same lineups.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
all right, sir.
Sense.
That's it for me. You good?
I guess I'm good. It'll be very interesting for me to see how the Cowboys respond this week.
Yes, for sure.
Because they and Jerry their heads are so big. I can see them just literally saying, that was a fluke, no big deal, and going out and doing the exact same thing again this week. Where most teams will say, you know what, maybe we need to buckle down a little here. I can see the Cowboys just blowing that off as nothing and losing again.
Patriots won't be easy.
No, of course they won't.
All right. Everyone, thanks for listening. Make sure you check us out. Get Your Bet on Football podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and we'll see you in a week. Thanks.
See ya.
Yeah.